Hey guys, it's me, the Stardust Dash, and I'll be reacting to the Forgotten Characters in MLP by Sugarflake. So yeah, let's go.
MLP is a huge franchise where we've seen a lot of characters. Some are good and some are bad. But then they are the ones that slip and fade away, only for a small portion of the community to remember them. So today, let's go back and remember some of the forgotten characters in My Little Pony and what potential they could have had in the show. But first, some honorable mentions. I put Philomena in honorable mentions because while there is potential with her, I know that she isn't a strong character. Still, it would have been nice to see her more often, or at least as a background character, kinda what they did with Pee-wee. While I don't consider them forgotten because they aren't, we saw them for 5 seasons.
I mean, they weren't forgotten, I would say. It's just that like they weren't really used that much, in my opinion.
And they're still remembered by the community and fans to this day. They are here because I do believe we could have seen another arc with them, especially Diamond Tiara. Like what if we saw an episode where she helps the Cutie Mark Crusaders to solve a problem, or at least explore more of the life of Silver Spoon. Lightning Dust is another character that is in honorable mentions because while she is a forgotten character, kinda, her potential boils down to a reformation or revenge story, which could get a little monotonous at that part of the series, but still. We could have seen an episode where she learned how to take responsibility of her actions and rejoins the Wonderbolts, or what if she seeks revenge on Rainbow for ruining her life. I don't know, I just think that they could have done a little more with Lightning Dust. But those were my honorable mentions. Overall, I think these characters were fine, they did their job and nothing else, but I do think we could have explored more about.
I mean, like a lightning dust. So- Sorry about that. I have a sore throat. As I was saying, I mean, like lightning dust. I mean, yeah, she's kind of forgotten, I guess, but her character is similar to Rainbow Dash in a sense because you know, like like she's also you know, like whatever. I don't like Rainbow Dash is, but the thing is, though, like Lightning Dust is reckless compared to Rainbow Dash. So yeah.
them. But let's move on to the first character of this video, which is Twist was initially introduced as Apple Bloom's only friend, or at least the only one who wanted to be her friend. But to the fortune and misfortune of Twist, she got her cutie mark on his debut episode, which was enough for Apple Bloom to break any friendly relationship they could have had and replacing her with Sweetie Belle and Scootaloo. To me, Twist was a good character, and what we saw of her in the show was good, but I do believe we could have seen another episode with her, maybe an episode where she became a Cutie Mark Crusader, or an episode where she competed against Pinkie Pie to see who had the better sweets. Because let's not forget what the cutie mark of Twist represents, which is her love of making candy. But sadly, the reason why we didn't see Twist again is because of her voice actress, Alexandra Carter, moving away from Vancouver at the time. And sadly, that's the reason why we didn't see Twist again. But let's move on to our second character of the video, Little Strongheart. Who remembers Little Strongheart? If you don't, I don't blame you. Little Strongheart just appeared.
I think she's that one. Okay, Buffalo or something from. I forgot the episode name or something, but I think it's like the 21st episode of. Sorry, the 21st episode of season one.
In one episode of the series, that being Over a Barrel, and she was part of the Buffalo tribe, and the only thing that she really wanted was peace between the ponies of Appaloosa and the buffaloes. And you know what? She got it, but at what cost? They were relegated to background appearances after that episode. Where we could have had episodes where Brayburn and Little Strongheart were Buckball teammates competing against Fluttershy and Pinkie Pie. Or what about a story where the Buffaloes are having a pie competition with Pinkie Pie and Applejack? It really blows my mind that in the beginning of the show, the buffaloes were apparently so important to the story of Appaloosa, but by season 2 they vanished and we never explored anything else about them. It's really sad that we forgot about them so quickly. And let's continue with our next forgotten character, which was... I know what you're thinking. Wait, what? Prince Blueblood is...
I don't mind this one, okay? He's a piece of he's a piece of shit, okay? I don't care about this one. I forget about him.
in this video? Yes, because believe it or not, he had potential to be more than what he was in the show. Prince Blueblood
No, he doesn't. He's a big piece of shit, I'm sorry. He really is a piece of shit.
was apparently the distant nephew of Princess Celestia, and he was supposed to be the love interest of Rarity in the Grand Galloping Gala. But when that didn't work and Rarity realized he was just a narcissistic prick, she dumps him, and after that we
I mean, I guess that's one way of insulting him too. So yeah, I agree.
don't see him ever again, except in the backgrounds, and the last time that we saw him was season 4. So what potential could Prince Blueblood have on the show? Well, we could have explored how he is related to Princess Celestia in a comedic or serious way, or a redemption episode where he demonstrates he is a capable, good leader to the surprise of Rarity, or comedic appearances in episodes like Make New Friends But Keep Discord, Slice of Life, The Royal Problem, or Princess Spike. But while we didn't see that on the show, we did see it on the comics, especially issue 26 of Friends Forever, where we see Shining Armor preparing to go to Jakistan because they want to set up a trade agreement with the Crystal Empire. And who better pony to go with him than Prince Blueblood? We see their dynamic grow throughout the comic and even become friends. In the comic we go from Shining Armor doubting Prince Blueblood and fearing he will screw up everything, to Prince Blueblood giving him good advice and even helping him. Overall, this comic is awesome. It has some crazy funny moments with Shining Armor and Prince Blueblood, and a pretty good ending with a sweet lesson at the end. Just a fantastic comic. And then we have My Little Pony Deviations, where it's literally what if Prince Blueblood was the protagonist instead of Twilight, and it ends up being a pretty funny comic. In the end, we didn't get so much of Prince Blueblood in the show, but I'm glad we did in the comics. From season 1 we jump all the way to season 3.
Yeah, I'm never reading IDW now for My Little Pony because I don't want to know what he does now.
With Babs Seed, and this one it's sad to me because I'm a big fan of Babs. I know that a lot of people don't like her, but even though she acted like a bully towards the CMCs in the episode, she learns her lesson at the end and becomes the first piece of the expansion of the Cutie Mark Crusaders around Equestria. So how did it go? Well, they just got rid of her. Yeah, we don't know why they opted to get rid of her, but it's a true shame that on the 6 seasons after Babs was introduced, that we didn't see more of her story. Because we could have had episodes where we see the family of Babs, or see what difficulties she faced in Manhattan, or to see the Manhattan CMCs and their backstories, or see how she got her cutie mark. Instead they gave us one background appearance and a summary in a note with her cutie mark. I mean, I just wish that we could have seen more of her.
Allow myself to introduce myself.
So Babs actually has appearances in the comics, especially Friends Forever issue 13 and the Manhattan Mystery. Let's begin with Friends Forever issue 13, where we see Rarity going to Manhattan for a designing gig for Sapphire Shores while Sweetie Belle stays sick on Ponyville. But when Rarity's in Manhattan, Babs goes to see her, but she's disappointed to find that Sweetie Belle couldn't come, and Rarity, feeling bad for her, she takes upon herself to show Babs a good time. And how do they do that? Well, they go to a roller derby, and can I just say that these roller derby ponies have the greatest names ever? Like seriously, we have Shadows Mac, Princess Celestia, Scarswirl, and my favorite, Shining Armor. Shining Armor. Not only we see in the comic her likes and dislikes, but the comic actually adds to Babs' story and gives her something in common with Rarity of all ponies, and that is that some ponies doesn't get them, and this common thread between Rarity and Babs allows them to form a real friendship between them. And the pony that showed Rarity the connection between them was Sapphire Shores, and I think that was really unexpected but also really cool. But let's move on to the Manhattan Mystery. In the Manhattan Mystery we see Applejack, Rarity, Fluttershy, Applebloom and Babs go to a Trixie show, where we see them not only confused, but really entertained by Trixie's show until Trixie becomes a wanted criminal by accident, and now they need to help her clear her name. And this is just an awesome comic, and that moment where Babs talks to Trixie, oh, that was really sweet. 10 out of 10 comic, go read it. But the last time that we saw Babs was on the episode Apple Family Reunion, and it's really sad that we didn't see more of Babs. But we will always have the show and the comics to look back and remember this.
And the great remix of the Babseed song as well, I guess.
Amazing, underrated little pony. But now let's move on to our next three characters that were forgotten. These three were the most prominent ponies from Starlight's village. Well, actually the only ones, and these three had a pretty important role on the premiere of Season 5 with its task of liberating their town from Starlight's communistic ways, and they even formed a special group that could have been relevant in the future. But sadly only Sugarbelle had a more important role in later seasons as the girlfriend of Big Mac. But the rest of the group wasn't so lucky because we just saw them in a really small portion of Season 6 to later be relegated to background characters. Which means all the time we spent with them, even if it wasn't that much showing us their personalities and conflicts, were all in vain, because when all of those conflicts ended, it was like they didn't have more to offer. Which is not true. We could have had an episode about their new lives in Starlight Village, or about their new jobs, or relationships, you know, like what we saw with Sugarbelle. But in the end, they were forgotten, and if you think these ones are weird, the next ones I just don't understand why they weren't used more. Now, I could put all Pinky's family here because we just saw them in one episode, technically, but I want to focus on Marble and Lime because they were pretty underutilized. Marble and Lime were Pinky's sisters and they were teased since Season 1, but we didn't get an actual episode until Season 5 with Heartbreakers. And this episode remains one of my favorite episodes from this season, and at the time I was excited to see what the future holded for these characters. But sadly that never happened.
Yeah, same. I actually wish like these two characters were used more, but you know, it's Hasbro, what do you expect?
Only Maud had more episodes about her, and I'm not mad. Maud is one of my favorite characters in later
She's also best pony as well.
seasons, but we could have gotten more episodes about them, or even episodes where they could have joined Maud visiting Pinkie Pie in Ponyville, or episodes that explore more the Rock Farm. The last time that we saw Lime and Marble was on the episode The Maud Couple for a brief moment, and to this day I don't understand why we didn't see them more often. Maybe it was the voice actors or maybe it was something else, but either way, in the end these two will remain forgotten by the show, but not by the fans. And let's move on to our final character of the video, which is Stygian was introduced in the finale of Season 7 as the Pony of Shadows, and his role in the episode left a lot to be desired, although his backstory and conflict were interesting enough to leave us wanting more, or at least it did with me. But once his role as a villain was finished, we're limited to know that he wrote a book talking about his experience with the Shadow. While we saw the lives of the pillars and even having an entire episode about one of them, Stygian became another background character. And the funniest thing is that Stygian has more and even a better story in the comics than in the show, where we saw his rise to darkness, his story with the pillars, and how he learned to live without the Shadow. And it's a real shame that all that development in the comics wasn't shown in the show, because I think that people would have preferred to watch this to this.
Aye, because I wouldn't even be here to be turned into a statue if Twilight hadn't cast a spell in the first place.
And those were the forgotten characters of My Little Pony. It's really sad to see that a lot of these characters had potential, but they didn't get their shot to shine, and were relegated to the background or the comics. But what do you guys think? Do you think that these characters had potential to be better? And what characters do you think had potential to be better in the show? Leave it down in the comments and remember to like and subscribe because that lets me know if you like the video. And take care guys, I'll see you in the next video.
Well, anyways, that was my reaction to the forgotten characters in MLP. And yeah, I do feel like these characters, well, most of them, some of them, such as Prince Blueblood, deserves to be forgotten for his actions against Rarity and whatnot. But yeah, most of them, yeah, I do feel bad for them, especially like Mod Pie. I'm sorry, no, like Marble and Limestone Pie. I mean, so yeah. But anyways, I'll see you guys next time. Bye.